Breaking news just in the Rock feed. We have just received a statement from Slipknot in which the band has revealed some pretty shocking news. Chris Fehn, a founding member of the band who has been with the group consistently since 1998, is no longer a member of Slipknot. We've been covering this story for the last couple of days, in which The Blast reported Fehn alleged that the band had duped him out of revenues and royalties, in which he said he learned there were different companies set up in different states, which, again, we've talked about this before. That is not solely indicative of somebody being misled. This is generally a common practice for a sizable company like Slipknot, and they are a sizable company. There are complicated tax situations, etc. And he essentially called for a full accounting with the band, and he will probably get that full accounting if Slipknot is to be believed that these are upstanding businessmen who have been able to be professionals for the last several decades. It's certainly likely that he will get that accounting, but as we suspected, when you go public with these sort of claims and allege that you're filing a lawsuit to the national media, and again, we haven't found a record yet that suit has actually been filed. We have searched extensively for it. But when you make those sort of claims, it's difficult to remain in band. So please be very, very reasonable with your disappointment towards Slipknot, because they were seemingly backed into a corner here. There were very few options for this band when you have someone who is publicly pointing a finger and taking private business situations public. It's very difficult to continue to have a relationship with someone who does that, or allegedly does that. So no less, here is the statement from Slipknot, which says, quote, "Slipknot's focus is on making album number 6 and our upcoming shows around the world, our best ever. Chris knows why he is no longer a part of Slipknot. We are disappointed that he chose to point fingers and manufacture claims rather than doing what was necessary to continue to be a part of Slipknot. We would have preferred he not take the path that he has, but evolution in all things is a necessary part of this life. Long live the knot." And they are indeed correct. Evolution happens, people change, relationships change. This does not affect, as we said previously, if this was going to happen, this doesn't affect the future of Slipknot. Chris was with the band since 1998, and this is something that is difficult and likely frustrating for fans, but this is not necessarily something that is the fault of those who are currently in Slipknot. And it's sad that things happen to shake out this way. We do not have a reaction from Chris at this point. Obviously, if he or any members of Slipknot wanted to speak on this, they're always welcome here. That's probably not likely because they've really said all they really need to say at this point. But it is sad to see that this is shaked out. But, don't blame Slipknot in a situation like this, because when you take something that is a business-related matter and you make it public, it's nearly impossible. When you say you're suing your bandmates, it's very unlikely that they are going to be your bandmates for very long. When you say you're suing your best friend, that is not going to be your best friend anymore. He very well could have filed this lawsuit privately. It's still unclear how the Blast got that story, and this is purely speculation here, but typically news media organizations get tips. They're fed information by people, by sources, and likely that is how the Blast got information. It's unclear if Chris gave them information. No clue. Could very well likely have not said a word, but it's also possible that someone related to him in his camp, or he himself may have possibly perhaps given them information. But again, that is wild speculation, merely a guess, a wild guess. But it is interesting that they came out with that story and they don't name a source, and it's tough to tell how they got that information, and we'll really never know because they don't have to reveal it. And quite honestly, it would be probably unreasonable for them to reveal specifically where they got it from. So, this is a very, very shocking situation here to see Chris no longer being a member of Slipknot, but not necessarily unexpected given the developments over the last couple of days. As they say, long live the knot. Slipknot isn't going anywhere. That album's going to drop. Unfortunately, if you think that Chris was a integral songwriter within the band, I've got news for you. That probably wasn't the case. Not that he wasn't an important member of Slipknot. He definitely was, and it's sad to see him go, but Slipknot is going to move onward and upward, and this sucks. It sucks to see this happen, but this is life. Things change, people change, and the public allegations that come out, that is a difficult way to do business and keep doing business with a band that you've been a part of for years. That's a tough choice to make, and it appears that he chose that maybe a simple financial disagreement was more important than over 20 years of a relationship. So, sad news, unfortunate news, disappointing news indeed, but Slipknot will continue to be a dominant force in the metal community. They are and will continue to be an upstanding band, and this sucks, but album number 6 is on the way. Their world tour will continue to happen, and based on what we have seen from Slipknot over the last number of decades, this has been a professional band that isn't out to screw someone out of money or isn't out to, hurt anyone intentionally. Things happen, and as they say Chris knows why he's no longer a part of Slipknot. It's unclear what is happening behind the scenes, but they are very confident in their statement. So thank you for joining us today. We will keep an eye on this situation, and sad news for Slipknot fans. If you're new here, you can subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss out on breaking hard rock and heavy metal news. And again, you can check out these recommended videos. We'll keep an eye on the situation. Thanks again for joining us today.